Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today, we're gonna be doing a whole bunch of stuff. So, I'm gonna jump right into it. I've gotta go pick up some security keys, like the weird lug nut sockets, to remove the lug nuts on that Mustang. You guys are gonna see later what I'm talking about. I still have my car here. Well, that's not going anywhere. My friend's car, Nick's, his axle is shot, and we actually found out that the rear motor mounts back there behind the engine is shot, and the bolts holding the front motor mount, they snapped off and they're gone. So I still don't have parts for that, but it's gonna be a work in progress. It's gonna be probably out of here sometime soon. I'm not exactly in a rush. Luca, what is Luca doing? Luca's cleaning up his wheels. Luca's cleaning up his wheels because we're gonna be lowering the car a little bit more. So we've got the coilovers in. Now you guys are probably gonna give me shit about the bumper, but you know, whatever. When it's wet, you can see a difference. When it's dry, you can't really unless you really stare at it. But the car's gonna be lowered. We're gonna be lowering it and adjusting the coilover so that we're gonna be getting the car to be flush. Now we're probably gonna be dropping the back about 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. And the front, we're gonna be dropping 1 inch. Look at that wheel cleaner. Look at that work.
Out of the way.
What else is going on? I got stuff for the Accord too. So, so I have a K-tuned, come on camera, focus. I have a K-tuned slave cylinder. I have a stainless steel clutch braided line, and I have a K-tuned master cylinder. Those are eventually going in the Accord. What else did I have? I had something else. Where'd it go? This guy. So I'll be also installing a steering wheel emblem on my car. So this is the JDM one, and it's gonna be changing the one that's on the car. So just to give you guys an idea as to how low the car is, it's low, but we want to go a little bit lower. Yeah, so we've got the spacers in. The car's basically flush. The car's lower than it was before, but we want to drop it a little bit more. So the springs and everything settled already on the car, so the car should be good to go. It shouldn't be changing too much. Yeah, so we're just gonna get the car, bring it in the garage, and jack it up so we can change the coilover ride height. So while my brother does that in the garage, I've got to take my car, go to a friend's house, and go pick up a lock socket for one of these lug nuts, whatever you call it, the key for it, because this Mustang that I'm working on, it's got these aftermarket lug nuts, but I can't use a regular socket to take them out. So what the game plan is I'm gonna go grab his special tool to remove this. So it's a special security key socket, and I'm gonna be taking these out and replacing them with regular sockets. So this is that socket that I was talking about. So it's for a 6-bolt lug nut, and that's what I need. So let's go home. So this is what the steering wheel looks like now, with just the OEM chrome little emblem on the airbag. Now we're gonna be sticking this emblem over top of this. So this right here is essentially an overlay. So all that we're doing is we're slapping it over top, and it's covering up this. Now I've looked into it, and you can remove this little emblem. However, it's actually riveted into the airbag. So if you want to do that, you're going to be having to take apart this entire thing, and it's going to be a ton of work. So that's why one of these little JDM kits is so awesome, because you can just slap it on and you're done. Now we picked up this steering wheel emblem with the same JDM emblems for the front grille and the back, the front grille and the rear trunk for my friend Civic. So if you guys remember before in the aux beam video, we installed 2 JDM emblems on his car, and this is the 3rd one that came in the kit. Before we put the sticker onto the airbag, we're first gonna clean it up, and I'm gonna be using some isopropyl alcohol on a microfiber towel, and just give the entire emblem a wipe down. Now that's gonna remove any grease or oils that are on the airbag and on the emblem. You can now proceed to remove the entire backing on here for the 3M tape. It's pretty difficult with one hand. So I've got that like that, and then all that we're gonna do is we're gonna push this over top of the emblem. So if this is it, we're gonna slide it over top of the OEM emblem, and we're gonna push it on. Now I'm gonna put the camera down for 2 seconds just to make sure that I align this properly, and then I'm gonna push. So I'm just pushing down on the emblem right now just so that it stays in place. But from the looks of it, that's it, that's on there. And there you have it. So that's the JDM emblem installed, and if you ask me, it looks nice because it matches the rest of my interior. The black and red color scheme looks good. So there you have it, it's on there. Now, if you want to make it so that it's stayed on there for good, if you want, you can attach the second piece of the 3M tape on the back side of there just to hold it in place. So that's what I had to do. All I did was I doubled it up so that it would have more 3M tape behind there to conform to the OEM Honda emblem that's still attached to the airbag. So that's in there for good. It's not going anywhere. Now, if you want to push this on there good, if you hold the top of the airbag and the front emblem and push, you can push the emblem in without honking the horn. So the next problem that we're going to be tackling is going to be the bolts that are stuck on the car. So right here I have one of the lug nuts that we removed, and you can see that this isn't a regular hex lug nut, if the camera will focus on it. You can see that it's got like lines on it, and we'll need a special socket to remove it. Now that's exactly what I have in my hand. So this, see this right there? See how there's like lines that go down inside the socket? Well, we're going to be using this over top the lug nut like that, and we're going to be using that to remove it. So with the lug nut right there removed, we're going to be installing a regular hex lug nut back on the car. So you don't even have to lift the car up in order to do this. As long as you do this one lug nut at a time, you're going to be okay. So make sure that when you're doing this, you're going to be torquing up each one of these lug nuts back on once you take it off. So you're going to take this off, put a new lug nut back on, torque it up, then move to the next. Take that off, install the new one, torque it up, and then go on to the next one until you have all 5 lug nuts on each wheel completely swapped over. So they're the first 5 lug nuts and the key on the first wheel. So we completely swapped them over and torqued up each one of these lug nuts to the proper torque spec. So for this Mustang, the torque spec for the wheel is 100 foot-pounds. So make sure that you use the torque wrench, put the appropriate socket on it, and tighten it up until you hear the click. Alrighty, next up is going to be lowering the suspension on the Golf. So we need to adjust the suspension on these coilovers so that we're about 1 inch lower, both front and back. Now we're not going to quite go 1 inch, but we're going to go somewhat close to it, because our game plan is we want this tire, once there's load on it, to be pretty damn close to flush with the fender on the front, and the same thing on the back. So there is sag right now, and we know that, but as soon as we put the suspension, as soon as we change the collars on them to make it so that the ride height is lower, once we put the car back down on the ground, it should be flush both front and back. It's a good thing we saved the coilovers till last, because look at this. Wouldn't have been fun being stuck out there. And there's Leanne not liking this weather, chirping at me. So on the driver's side of the car, we just took the wheel off and we just adjusted the coilover up here on the front. Now, this height that you see right here, that number of threads is what we're going to aim for on the opposite side, so on the passenger side of the car. Now, I measured it, and it's 23 millimeters is what it is from the bottom collar up to the top part that isn't threaded. So that entire section right there, if the camera will focus on it, there we go, is 23 millimeters. So I'm going to try and replicate that for the passenger side, just so that we have equal ride height from driver to passenger side. Now onto the passenger side. If we take a look at this side right there that's threaded, you can see that it's a lot bigger than the driver's side. Now this, I measured it up, it's 33.63 millimeters, and we need to bring this side down so it's going to be equal with that side. So in order to change the ride height on this coil, we need to remove this right here for the ABS line. Now these are attached on the strut. We need to take those out. Now we'll just leave it like that, and then we need to loosen up this bottom collar. So in the coilover kit that you bought, if you have coils, you guys are going to have some spanner wrenches that attach on the bottom part, and you should be able to loosen this up. Now we're going to raise this just so it's not going to be in the way, because we need the size between here and there to be 23 millimeters. So I'm just going to put this higher than I need to. And then to lower it, all you do is you grab the coilover and you turn it. So what's going to happen is the coil is going to thread itself into the bottom piece right here, and this is what actually holds the coilover in place. So keep spinning this until you're at the proper height, and then you're looking for 23.34 millimeters right here. So once you achieve the proper ride height you want, all you have to do now is align it so these two tabs are facing the brake line, the ABS line right here. So you have it like that, and then we're gonna have to tighten up this bottom collar. Now once you do this, this is just gonna ensure that the coilover isn't gonna spin when you're driving. So if you leave this loose, because the weight of the car is gonna be pushing up on the coil, you could actually be changing the ride height while you're driving. So make sure that you put that on there, and then grab your spanner wrench and tighten this up for good. There we go. So once you have it like that, we can put our brake line back onto here, like so. Put the wheel back on, and then the front suspension is gonna be all tuned. So the fronts are now lower. Now we're gonna leave it the way it is, just like that for now, because we have to do the rears. So how we adjusted the front collar is gonna be very similar to the rear. Now the difference is that this is not a shock and strut in one. The adjustment part, which is the collar, is attached to the spring. So it has nothing to do with the shock absorber. So if you come underneath here, you can see that that's where we're gonna be doing any adjusting for our coil. So to lower it, we're gonna turn it in the exact same way that we lowered the front. Now this is a very awkward angle to get to, but because I love you guys, I'm showing you guys how to do this. So we've got the shock right here, and the autofocus not working. Come on, camera, I swear to God. Okay, so we have the shock here. It's going to the bottom part of the subframe. We have the spring here, and this is what we're adjusting in the back in order to change the ride height. So there's not two collars that we lock together to hold in place. The thing that's holding it in place is the weight of the vehicle pushing down on the spring and this collar. So if you want to lower it, this collar you'd be twisting this way. If you want to raise the vehicle, you'd be twisting it in the opposite direction. So with this adjusted on both sides, the car is good, so we can put the wheel back on and we can see how low the car is. Alrighty, so now that it's on the ground, the car is good, the car is low. We torqued up the wheels front and back, and it's a lot lower. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. It's lower, it looks a lot better, and I think we might even go lower down the road. But this wheel gap is a lot better than it was before. You can see that we have what, about a finger? Yeah, we have about a finger in the back, and like a finger and a half in the front. Jeez. So we're just measuring up right now how much more we're gonna go low. How much lower we're gonna go. So we've got the front to drop and the rear. Now we're just gonna do the exact same thing, so we're gonna jack it up in the air and then change the colors, both the front and back, so that the ride height is lower than this. Okay, now that you've had the coils on the car for about a week, how would you say the car drives?
Oh, so much better.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's obviously a much harsher ride, okay, compared to my old luxury springs. But yeah, no, it's a lot better.
Yeah. Like the first thing that I noticed when I took the car for a spin was how much less the car would say sway forwards and backwards and even side to side once we install the coils.
It stays flat through the corners.
Yeah, it's a lot better. And with the lip on the front, yeah, she looks good. Woo! After getting all dirty and everything, I did a couple DIYs today. If you guys have any questions regarding either three of them, let me know, post it down in the comment section below, and I'd be happy to help. Again, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace. The frickin' adhesive on the back of this, the little red part, I've been trying for literally the last 2 minutes trying to take it off. This is actually gonna be the death of me. Alrighty, moment of truth. So we have this side jacked up, the passenger side is already down on the ground. So we're gonna be putting it down on 2x4s, just because we know the car's gonna be too low, and we don't have the race ramps because the Cobalt outside is using them. So, here we go, moment of truth. Let's see how low we go. Yo, look at that, sick.
That's nice.
Okay.
Oh, crap.
Nice. Okay, well that's one way to do it.
Put the e-brake on.
Put the e-brake before you do anything.